Hello, everyone. My name is Reggie McIntyre with Louisiana Tech Athletics. I'm here today, joined by Lynnea Phillips of Indiana Athletics for our 5 and 5 series brought to you by NACMA's Brand Management Committee. I can't wait for you to share your perspective to our mid-level professionals. Our topic today is creative pitch. How do you pitch new creative ideas to senior staff and more? So Lynnea, please tell me a little bit about yourself.
Hi, well, thanks for having me today. I'm really excited to be on here to talk to you about creative pitch. I'm the assistant AD at Indiana University, like you mentioned. I've been in my role since about July of this year. It's been a really exciting kind of transition for us as we tackle NIL. I oversee everything digital and social related, but also I'm responsible for leading, our branding efforts for our student athletes, which includes a partnership with Open Doors and making sure that we share content with our athletes. So it's a really exciting shift and change here that we're going through at Indiana.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, let's put 5 minutes on the clock. Let's start by getting the most important definition for our audience. From your perspective, what is your definition of brand?
Wow, that's a really great question. When I think of brand, I think of what other people think of you. It could be your institution, it could be your athletic department, it could be your sport specifically, it could be you as a person. What other people say and think about you, when I kind of think of it as word association. If they think of, your brand, do they think of happiness? Do they think of winning? Do they think of their parents? Do they think of their college years? Like whatever comes to mind, is what your brand is.
Thank you. Now, we know it's important to pitch our ideas to upper management for approval. Can you walk us through your pitch process?
Here at Indiana, we got a good mix of people who are involved with any given project. And so really it starts with kind of brainstorming, whether that's with starting with a smaller group of like 1 or 2 people or a larger group. When I do things, I like to kind of start small and then take it to a wider group. Ideation, if you will, thinking of ideas, thinking of, things that kind of execute whatever the project is, whatever the end goal is for that project, and then moving up and branching out and bringing it to bigger people. We have a lot of stakeholders involved here, whether it's related to, I work in the digital space, but what I do impacts marketing, it impacts development, it impacts our strategic communications department. So making sure that once those ideas are beyond the ideation phase and move to the execution phase, that we work with as many stakeholders as are involved.
Absolutely. So you talked about working with several stakeholders. Over the years, how have you refined your pitch process?
I feel like pitching is a work in progress. I feel like buy-in is really important. That's kind of a buzzword, but if you don't have people to kind of back up your project and help you get things off the ground, it's probably not going to go very far. So making sure that your idea is somewhat flushed out, that your idea is kind of strong enough and that you can kind of see it from the beginning stages to the end stages to explain it enough to whoever your stakeholders are involved, but making sure that they're bought in and willing to help you kind of get there from point A to point B is really important. And I think really getting people in your corner and getting buy-in from the people that really need to help lift those ideas off the ground is key.
Absolutely. When creating a pitch, talk to us about the importance of maintaining brand integrity. How do you ensure the brand is at the center of all of your digital efforts?
Yeah, so living in the digital space, I always try to say we're at Indiana specifically, we're a traditional brand as well. When people think of Indiana, they think of the cream and the crimson, the candy stripes. Basketball is one of the first sports that comes to mind, right? And so we know, those kind of stronghold things that relate to our brand. And so we're always kind of keeping that in mind, keeping brand consistency in mind. We're trying to take those traditional aspects of our brand and make sure that they're working in what is 2022 and the years beyond. So we're trying to take that traditional classic brand and make it more modern, and especially working in the digital space, that's kind of the world that I have to live in on a regular basis. And so when I'm doing things, I'm always trying to talk to some of the people that have been here a little bit longer than me. Like I said, I've been here a little over 5 years, but there are people that have worked here much longer than that. And so I want to make sure that we have buy-in from people who really are here to kind of safeguard the traditional aspects of the brand. So we're not doing anything that's too far out of left field, but also to make sure that we're kind of pushing that digital envelope and making sure that we're doing things that resonates to the younger side of our audience, especially.
Perfect. Now, if you could leave our mid-managers one piece of advice as they work to enhance their institution's brand, what would it be?
Well, I think the thing that I would leave everybody with is consistency, right? Like try to keep it consistent. You know, if you have an idea or if you have a bigger campaign or a long form project, don't just abandon it if you think things aren't necessarily going your way, or don't just try to, you know, if you work at a place that's really consistent and traditional, don't be afraid to mix it up a little bit, but kind of keep on that path for a while. You know, I feel like one of the hot topics lately is especially amongst, you know, football and basketball programs, is working in maybe some colors that aren't as traditional to your brand. Like at IU, we've started working in more black into some of the things that we're doing digitally. And so when people think of IU, of course they think of red and white, cream and crimson, but you know, adding a little dash of black and a hint of black now and again, I feel like we can get away with that, but making sure that when people are looking at our designs or graphics or even, let's say, uniforms, when they tune in, we still want them to know that it's Indiana. We still want them to kind of feel, you know, those candy stripe vibes, not just look at us and think, you know, look at their uniforms, they're all black, or look at their graphic, they're all black. I mean, so that's just an example of, you know, try to, I guess, bring it to the modern side, but don't forget your roots. So keep it consistent.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining us today for our 5 in 5 series brought to you by NACMA's Brand Management Committee. Thank you.